Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk to you about my 3 go-to movements I perform before I do any type of heavy barbell squatting or Olympic lifting. I don't know about you, but as I'm getting older, and maybe it's just because I'm doing more CrossFit nowadays, my knees are the things that scream at me first, so I need to take as much care of my knees as I can if I want to be in CrossFit for a long time. So before any big lift or anything that I'm doing that would include me squatting, I try and get these 3 movements, stretches in my warm-up before I start. Let's get into the video. I will show you what equipment you need to be able to do these movements, and I will talk you through the movements themselves. Let's get into it. Okay guys, what you're going to need is a big, thick resistance band. You're going to need 2 bands for flossing. These are specific for flossing. And either 2 boxes or 2 PVC pipes. Okay, so I'm going to start with something called knee flossing. Knee flossing is essentially using a band specifically for flossing. I'm sure you can use other things, but I'm using these I bought from Amazon to wrap the knees essentially. You start 2 inches below the knee, working your way up past your kneecap, and then finishing probably 2 or 3 inches above the knee. These want to be fairly tight, but not so tight that you lose range of movement and you can't bend your knees. There's a number of benefits to knee flossing. Things such as it helps to loosen off tight muscles, it improves flexibility, and it increases blood flow. It has also been shown to reduce muscle soreness and improve overall comfort and performance before and after a workout. So from here, what I'm going to do is just sit down into a squat and just feel through a few movements here, just going through maybe a few slow tempoed squats, just feeling my knees come to life, sitting back into that squat position, using a rig or something to hold on to get my chest nice and upright, getting full flexion on those knees, and just rocking back and forward, as you can see, just to get some movement in them. You can stay down here for as long as feels comfortable, you know, between 2 and 5 minutes, working through some movements and or staying in that bottom of the squat. This may feel slightly uncomfortable just behind the knees, but trust me, bear with it because this is really beneficial, and I've certainly seen a lot of benefit from doing flossing before my workouts. I'm now going to move on to lunges. This is going to give me a different range of motion, and I'm going to work probably between 5 and 10 reps on each side. I'm going to hold the rig just to take a little bit of weight off my knees as I'm pushing back up. Now, by this point, your knees should start to feel a little bit looser. However, they probably will also feel a little bit tight because during this time, you've been essentially doing blood flow restriction. But this is where the magic happens. So I'm going to take my bands off now. I'm going to roll my bands as I go. I always find it quite useful to do that. A, because it helps me keep them nice and tight in my bag. B, it's easier to put back on. Now you should suddenly feel a rush of blood back in your knee joint, and this feels actually quite nice. By this point, you should now be nice and warm, ready to move on to our next movement, which is a Spanish squat. Now, I've had knee pain for a long time. I had an injury in football which resulted in cartilage damage, and as a result of that, I now have arthritis. I also had, when I first started CrossFit, a little bit of tendon pain, and when I went to see a physio, this was one of the movements they recommended to do. Essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to step into the band. I'm going to use a towel here just on the back of my legs because it's a little bit more comfortable, and especially if you've got shorts on, it can catch the hairs on your back of your leg and it's not so comfortable. So what you're going to do is you're going to step into the band and slowly walk the band backwards until you start to feel some tension. From here, you're going to sit back, hips back and down, and going to try and keep your chest nice and upright. This is going to allow you to take pressure off your knee joint whilst putting tension and load through your quads, through your glutes, through your hamstrings. Isometric holds have also been shown to reduce knee pain. So if you do have pain in your knee, this may very well help reduce that. What I'm trying to think of here is keep my chest up nice and tall and my shins As you can see, they're almost vertical, and that band really does help you do that. The more upright your chest becomes, the more harder and challenging that work is on your quads and on your glutes. I would suggest, if you're new to this movement, maybe try and do 20 to 30 seconds and then rest for a minute and then back into it 20 to 30 seconds and do that 2 or 3 times round. Obviously, you can progress as you get more efficient and effective at this movement. Final movement is called an ATG Split squat, and this has been made quite popular by the knees over toes guy. If you've heard of him before, very big on Instagram and YouTube, and has bulletproof knees essentially. What I'm trying to think of here is using the PVC pipes to take a little bit of weight out of my movement here, trying to get my knees over my toes as far as I can possibly do. I'm not too worried at this point that my heel is coming off the ground, because essentially all I'm trying to do is just get full range of motion in that movement. For some, they might not be able to achieve this just on the floor. So one way you can do this movement is by elevating your front foot by putting it on a box or something like that, and that will just take the range of motion out slightly. You can also have a plate under your heel if you want a little bit more stability. As you can see, if you don't have PVC pipes, you can also do the same movement with 2 boxes. This, for me, was a little bit easier actually. I could get a little bit deeper, knowing that I could push back up with my hands. This also gives you a nice stretch for your ankle and hip flexors. Often the knee may not be the cause of pain, but it could be above or below the joint, such as a tight hip or restricted movement in the ankle, causing your knee to maybe track in an awkward position, causing it to have some pain. Now, without the pipes or the boxes, I'm just going to work through this range of motion now with trying to get my knee as far over my toes as I can. Just feel that movement, try to get a nice stretch in my knee, in my hip flexor, get my ankles nice and mobile. And from here, I'm just going to go through probably 5 or 6 reps on each side, just as it feels good. I'm pretty warm by this point, feeling pretty mobile, certainly a lot different from when I started this warm-up. Like I said, if you haven't quite got that range to do so from the floor, put a box or a few plates under your front foot and you'll be able to achieve this movement. And then as the weeks go on, try to progress. Think about maybe reducing the size of the box or the number of plates you've got under your foot. For me, this has definitely improved my flexibility and mobility before a workout. Before I used to do this sort of routine, I didn't really put my knees through this range of movement. So is it any wonder that when I got deep into a squat, suddenly I would start to have a bit of knee pain? Since I've been doing this, it's certainly reduced. There you go, guys. These are my 3 go-to warm-up exercises to get ready for a big squat session. If you do have long-term knee pain, don't take my advice. Please do go and seek the advice from a professional. I'm just someone that's battled with knee pain over the years, and these are the 3 exercises that I've been using to help reduce them. Hope you've enjoyed watching my video today, guys, and thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.